Okay, shall we get this pony
Yeah,
strutting?
show on the road. Pony strutting. Let's make it happen.
Do ponies strut or
Yes.
yeah? All right, so
I
welcome to episode.
think
I can't laugh
I
during my
think ponies
intro.
kind of do a little swagger, just like I'm a pony. But yeah, no.
Do
By
ponies
all
swag?
means, continue.
Wait, do they swagger or do they like gallop? Or is
Yeah, no,
galloping
that's
like
serious.
that's fast travel, right?
Sure. Yes.
That's like 100% speed, whereas like 60% speed is like a trot. Ponies
No, they're
trot, right?
swagger because they only go at 20. They're just like the
Yeah, but
tail.
ponies swagger. Yeah, but that sounds like they booty
They
shake.
do.
It's like, ew. Well, I guess some people are into pony.
It's like, hey man, don't knock my
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to like begrudge someone their.
different tails for different.
Welcome to episode 19 of Two Dimensional Champions, and today we are doing God Eater. This is
And I
Julian,
am Thaddeus / Thadinator.
and please send us your emails about whether or not you enjoy ponies in a more than friendly way, and we won't respond to those, but we will respond to any requests you have for shows that we're doing next. If you don't want to listen to our God Eater episode today, which, I mean, if you didn't want to, then why are you listening to
Why
it
are you
right
even
now? But
here?
yeah, why are you even here? Well, hopefully you're here because you like us so much. But if you're not, if you want to hear another show, next week we are doing Prison School again, part two.
Well, by part
We're gonna
two,
actually,
it's finished, and we're just gonna finish up the season.
yeah, and actually this is going to start two shows in a row coming up. We're going to do Prison School and then Gangsta after that, and we're just going to finish off both shows.
Maybe after that we should do. A lot of the shows that we did have finished, so we'll probably watch the ones that we liked and do like a full sort of review on them.
Would you like to do Roca after that?
We could, or
Why not?
BBB. There's so many. There's so many.
Well,
So we'll
yeah,
sort of figure it out.
actually, the finale, yeah, we'll figure it out. But the next two are definitely going to be Prison School Part 2 and Gangsta
Yes.
Part 2. So tune into those. We apologize for the week-long break. It just
Yeah,
sort of
and
happened.
whenever we state an announcement, just know that we follow the soon TM protocol of Blizzard Entertainment, which means that it'll come out when it comes out, and all of the sort of times we say something will come out are adjustable.
Yeah, and when we set up a Patreon and have a website and stuff like that, you'll be able to see the beta versions of all the podcasts we do because we actually talk in great length over how to bring you all the best possible content in each episode as we can.
I
Isn't that right?
I mean, if we do, I wasn't aware of it, but I mean, yes, we do.
And by beta, I mean if you listen to these, like if you listen to it, it's a lot of clicking and like grunting as we play games
Yes,
and stuff.
heavy breathing for other purposes.
Yeah.
And if you have any requests, please send them to 2dcrequest@gmail.com. It's just a better email than it all being typed out. Just trying to simplify it a little bit. There's too much typing. My hands, they get tired. I don't want the carpal tunnels.
And the other email we'll still be checking, but this
Yeah.
new one is Definitely simpler to type out. And if you're looking for us on Twitter, we are at 2D Champs on Twitter. And also, you're on
I
Twitter now
am, and I
too.
removed all of those followers that I once had, so now I'm down to like 8, which is a good manageable number.
Yeah,
Uh,
because you're not no longer
exactly.
hacked.
I don't have just a series of languages I don't actually read of Twitter people. But that's Thadnator. That's THADENATOR at Twitter.
And you can find me at Selcouth Comics, which let me spell that out for you. It's SELCOUTH Comics, all one word. And that's where I tweet, and that's also where I tweet about the webcomic idea and stuff like that. So yeah, but any official podcast stuff will be on the podcast Twitter.
Yeah.
So
Working on a website, hoping that'll be up in 2 weeks, but it could be 2 years. So somewhere in that range, but maybe sooner than 2 weeks and maybe later than 2 years.
oh yeah, yeah,
Just as
definitely.
a, rough estimate. And yeah, so you want to just
Yep.
get right on into it?
Let's get into it. So today we're doing God Eater, which has a little bit of an interesting history, which is it's based on a video game. I'm not actually. Neither of us are very
No,
familiar
I
with the
really
game.
didn't know that it was like based on a video game until you told me. I thought it was like based on something. It made me think it was like a dating something or other. I don't know. But anyway, but it yeah,
Yeah.
based on a video game that came out in 2010. Yeah.
Yep. And apparently there was a sequel called God Eater 2, released in Japan on November 2013. I don't know if, again, I've not played these games here. I know at least the first one came out here. And they're also going to be doing a third game called God Eater Resurrection for the PlayStation 4 and Vita. That's actually coming out in October. So I guess this anime is sort of,
Dude, I mean
I
that might be
guess,
cool. I don't,
yeah, it could be really cool. So the anime, which is just God Eater, is also a little interesting. Is then there was a 12-minute prequel OVA that aired in 2009, and then apparently there was like four preview episodes, like extra episodes. I don't know if those are part of the regular block that's been aired or if that's something special. I've only watched what's available on Crunchyroll. So that's the first five episodes, and apparently the whole show is only nine
oh really?
episodes. Yeah, I just read that, which is interesting.
And
And
also, there's like 8 episodes on Hulu and only 5 on Crunchyroll. Not really sure. Or at least I heard there were 8 on.
yeah, yeah, which is curious. It's licensed by Aniplex here in America, so you can either watch it on their streaming service, which is Daisuke. I guess there's a bunch, like you said, on Hulu, and then we watched it on Crunchyroll. So really, you've got a lot of options for watching the series. It's definitely not hard to find streaming
Yeah.
somewhere. Uh, and so it's a little awkward. I'm not sure if I'm missing something, is what I'm trying to say.
Like,
I don't know. Since I'm not too familiar with the
right.
games, not sure if there's something we're missing or if that was, or if what we watched was actually the beginning. But the OVA that was released several years ago was done by UFO Table, which also did the Fate Stay Night and most recent. What was the most more recent? The second season of it. Unlimited
So
Blade Works.
good.
That's it.
So good.
Yeah. Yeah. And so they did also the Kara no Kyokai film series. They've done a lot of good stuff. I know a lot of people are fans of that studio. And so they did the OVA for God Eater, and they've been doing the TV show, which gives it an
Yeah.
interesting look, I think. So, shall we just get into the show? I think there's no manga. I mean, if they're mangas, they're just spin-offs. This isn't based on anything else
Okay.
except the game.
That's it. I mean, that sort of explains some things. And I guess we'll get into that later because there's a lot of things that I was like, huh, this is interesting. And now that I know this based off a game, I'm like, oh yeah, Grindfest, or like, oh yeah, like, you know, I get these sort of things make sense for this universe now. Um,
Yeah, and the director of the show is actually the director of one of the Kara no Kyokai movies. I think specifically the fifth one.
what's Karen What
Uh,
is that?
and, um, it was a series of really well animated, like long OVAs. I don't know if they were quite 90 minutes each, but they were really wonderfully animated, and it was like kind of a supernatural setting. And I know it's based on a popular studio. I think it's a Type Moon franchise storyline. I It's been a while since I watched them. I'm not too familiar with the company behind it, and I'd actually have to like look
Okay.
stuff up. So I know they were super cool, pretty popular at
Right.
least a few years ago, and I mean they just looked fucking sweet. So even if you didn't, I remember not even really paying attention to the story. It was just so beautiful to watch that I was like, okay, it's like I'm on board. So yeah, maybe we'll talk about those
Okay.
sometime. But so anyway, the director previously worked on that, and so we're in the year
Okay.
2071, and that I guess is a fine start as any to get
Yeah,
into
so
episode one.
the episode one, like things that sort of stood out to me is I feel like that there's something relevant to this compass that the main character's walking around with. Like, right? Do you feel like that there's something going on?
Yeah, that's all. I mean, we're not really given too much about his backstory other than he came from outside
Yeah.
the
Which
walls of the
apparently, a
city.
few like actually
So
the majority of the people who are in like the main group are from outside of the wall.
yeah, it seems like they let in anybody who is able to become a like a
Right.
god eater, and their family basically. So yeah, definitely at least the fighters are. I'm sure they welcome in other people, but definitely by this point in the history of the world, they're only letting in people who could fight, and they're people, which
Hmm.
we'll talk about later. But yeah, so that was interesting. I guess the I'd imagine the compass is going to come in later on, but it wasn't
Yeah,
brought up
but
in
there's a
those
lot
we
of times
watched.
when he was like referencing it, and then like Linda like threw it. When we say him, we mean Linka, which is the main character that the story is based on. Then Linda is like the
Yep.
captain, and he like tossed it to him. He said like does this thing still work, or whatever. So maybe there's like just crazy shit's been going on in the world. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's a little funny. 'Cause it's not quite clear how long this has all been going on from watching the show. I enjoyed how they did the flashbacks to the scientists. But what was I found a little odd about it is everything's changed so much. It really felt like it was like hundreds of years in the future, as opposed to what I guess has only been maybe 10 or
Right,
20.
because you still see those characters and they look different. They look older and rougher, and they're not just like the scientists that I once were back in that lab. Like things have escalated quite quickly. But
Yeah, and I like here in my notes, I just wrote science in all capital
right,
letters.
right, which really like was it this the episode sort of like blended together. I tried to have notes, but it did really seem like Evangelion influenced in a serious way.
Oh, yeah, for me, I mean, actually, I didn't catch the. I guess now thinking about it, yeah, it definitely Ava, but I really this felt like Attack on Titan light
Well,
to me.
yeah. Well, I mean, I guess you could say that Attack on Titan might have been influenced from Eva because they're still sort of being
True.
held away. But yeah, I guess you could say that I sort of see Attack on Titan. But like with this, I think the thing that got me is it seems like that there's a lot of separate sort of like bunker units. Like there's
Mm.
like the Japan like station. There's like I guess the Russia station or whatever, and then they sort of communicate. But like everywhere else, it's just a fucking like chaos of an area.
Yeah.
And I really think that the lighting and the tone and the animation really help like paint a harsh world. Uh,
Oh yeah. And the animation is interesting because the way it's shaded, it's hard to. I mean, it's. I think it's all 2D except for the monsters, which are 3D. But what's interesting is even the 2D animation. I had to check myself a couple of times because I thought it looked 3D. I thought it looked like
well, I
CG
mean, I like
sometimes.
it's not CG.
Uh,
Like, I mean,
yeah, I think a majority of it is 2D, but the way it's
it
shaded
looks
makes you.
super
It
CG,
looks.
like super, super,
Yeah,
super
it looks.
CG.
Yeah, looks like the whole show is CG, and the especially the first episode has a curious style of editing,
Like that, like
which is
super action,
I
like is that what you're talking about?
yeah, like the music video
Right,
style
slow
editing
motion,
where stuff
foot
would like slow
running,
mo.
flash, really
Yeah,
fast.
and like it would change colors and stuff like that. And I think it could be cool. I don't know if it totally
It,
worked on
it,
me.
it
What do you think?
it's like right on that border of like if you're into it, it's really awesome, but if you're not like completely there, it's kind of like just too much and mockery worthy. You know,
Mm.
like yeah, there's some parts of this that just sort of seem almost too cheesy. Like, do you remember when we were talking about Bleach? This is a throwback. Right? We were talking about Bleach, and it was talking about how even though he would always do the generic hero character thing and help the people that are struggling and stuff like that. Like this is the guy who's but he would say, oh, I don't want to. Oh, I'm not that nice to the guy. I'm really trying to look out for me and mine and myself. Whereas Linka, he's like, no one will be left behind. We can't have any sacrifices. Like even when he was training, they were like, "Oh, well, you like went over to try to save this guy. Now you're dead, bro." And
Yeah.
that's just super one dimensional. Does not seem to have a lot of character depth. You know?
Oh yeah, he has very little depth. Actually, what's funny is another note I had for the first one of my first impressions of the show is to me I felt like it was the monsters from Roca with the main character of Triage X.
I actually think
How
that
does
Linka
that
has a
sound to you?
little bit more depth to Triage X, but like not quite as much. Or,
Well, that guy was a little similar too because he did have the like weird friend or
right.
something like that that was like
Yeah.
inside of him or something. But anyway, that was another first impression I had of
Yeah,
him
yeah. I
whenever
mean,
we
it
started it.
really just seems like I'm gonna help all of the people.
Yeah. And what did you think? So, like, can the wrist
No,
bracelets be removed? They're
they're
permanent. Okay.
permanent. They're fused to the skin. I also wanted to note that I thought it was interesting that the like female captain, her bracelet was like wrapped up. So
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
maybe there's a way that it can be that you can overuse it, or it can be disabled, or you use too much or whatever, and then something happens. I don't
Yeah.
know.
So I thought that was interesting, but the big question is if they can't remove them, how do they like put shirts on and shit?
They just make it fit. Yeah,
They just make it
yeah,
fit. Like they
lube it
just.
up.
I was like, I think they could have stood to make them a little less bulky because I feel like this is it's like the first version of a cell phone where they were super
Right.
fucking huge. It's like I feel like they got the first edition of these bracelet things and they're just
Yeah.
super huge.
Maybe,
I don't know,
yeah,
that
they
was
probably
just
want to make sure that you're really ready to commit when you're trying to fight to save the world. It's like they want everyone to
yeah,
know, hey, check out my sweet swag race bracelet or whatever.
yeah, oh yeah, yeah. I guess actually thinking about it now, I guess the really big Ava similarity is you have the bridge crew that are kind of calling the shots and saying what's going on and stuff like that, and like the sexy
Right.
commander, Misato
Yeah.
ish
I mean, they're
character,
really
and
like there's. Do you remember there was that one scene when they were meeting in front of all of the panels of people or something like that, and it was like I forgot who was meeting with them. It might have been that chick or maybe the blonde guy, but there's just like these panels and it made me think of and like darkness. It made me think of those
uh,
other meeting
yep.
rooms or whatever with like
Yeah, the very dramatic meeting
yes.
rooms in Ava where it's like, do you fuckers
Right,
have an
right.
interior
When they
decorator
were
at
when they were
all? Like,
telling him it's like you disobeyed the orders, you have to send him to prison or whatever, and like no
oh,
longer like let him fight and stuff like that.
oh yeah, yeah. And I think their swords are cool, but they're funny too. It looks like they're like really dangerous to run with,
Right. But something that I think was like really neat about the swords was like you really felt, at least for me, the like physics like they moved them quickly, but I felt like the characters responded well to the mass.
Yeah, they still felt like they had weight. It wasn't like they were just these giant foam swords that
Yeah,
were
I kind
swinging
of feel
around.
like that, like almost all of the guys and girls probably should have looked a little more like Guts from Berserk, but like, it's pretty crazy. I liked it though.
Yeah.
So just on note, I guess it's not all CG, but like it really seems like it's all CG. Um, I remember an argument or a dislike um for Knights of Sidonia's heavy CG style was that like a lot of the characters really looked the same. I mean, they even had the clones,
Oh yeah.
um,
Oh
like
yeah. Yeah.
they knew as well. But with this, I feel like all of the characters look really different.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
Yeah.
dramatically different. So, and which I thought was cool. It really helped. Like,
Will help you differentiate characters in a world that's pretty darkly lit
yeah,
most of the time. Yeah, which is nice. Yeah, so I guess with that, we're in episode two. I don't have too many notes for episode two. That one felt like it flew by pretty quick. I have boobs
oh, was
as
that
my
when they
main.
introduced the Russian?
Yeah, the Russian chick who is voiced by Maya Sakamoto, who's my favorite
Was she the
voice
same girl who did
actress. So that
Hana?
was nice.
Was that?
No, actually, she Maya Sakamoto is like she's the major in the most recent Ghost in the Shell series. She's Mary in the
Is
Ava
she in
movies.
any of the recent animes that we've done?
Um, I want to say yes, but I'd have to look
Fair
through.
enough.
Um,
Yeah, let's see. In the second episode, it was the guy that what's his that Linka went to save. He sacrificed himself and got tomped on by that big dude, like Ayami or something like that is what they called it, like that specific type of
oh yeah, the Amagami or
right.
something.
And Linka, had that scene where his god weapon, god eater, or whatever, was thrown away, and they started attacking him with like a piece of wood.
Oh yeah, yeah, origami. That's what they call it.
Origami, yes, and yeah, but like again, so like the scenes that happened in here, I thought were cool. They were just like really generic. That again, I don't have my weapon. Whatever, I'm not gonna leave this guy. I'm not gonna run. I'm gonna fight to save the people, sort of thing.
Yeah, and I really enjoyed Lindau's chainsaw. I think it's called a God Arc, is what the swords are called. Uh, his is pretty cool. Although Soma has kind of got a chainsaw edge to it, but his is actually a chainsaw. Lindau's is
Yeah,
actually a chainsaw,
yeah,
which is
and
pretty sweet.
all of their
Uh,
um. Oh, it's a God Arc, right? That's what it was called. Yeah, so
yeah,
all of their God arcs seem to be somewhat personalized. I've just like read one of my notes that says main character is so generic he's bought at the local grocery store. So
yeah. I mean, it's pretty painful, and it's also very predictable when he gets in trouble. He gets thrown in jail because you also know what's going to happen is he's going to be given some special mission to redeem himself,
exactly,
which is exactly what
and
fucking
it's
happens.
it's a freaking video game.
Yeah, I didn't like how Eric died. He
With
was
the
the guy
glasses.
who, you know, yeah, with the glasses. I thought that was pretty. It basically was like, wait, these guys don't double tap. They don't really make sure that these things are
Right,
fucking dead. Like I know there's a lot of them, but
right,
you're probably gonna know when one's not cleanly cut. Anyway, that just seemed a little silly to me. I was like, really, really. Of course it's gonna
right,
attack now. Of course it's gonna attack when everybody's
right.
chill.
Yeah,
It's like
I mean, the way
it's the
that I
zombie
see
thing.
this is really just the telling the readers, hey, we kill people in this show.
Yeah,
That's the like you can have like the
that's true.
violent or whatever stuff, but like it really sets the stone, even if it's not really like a super main character, but it's just like a pseudo main character. Like I think
Yeah.
in Attack on Titan wasn't like his mom or something. It showed her.
Yeah, his
And
mom
you know,
gets
so it's like you
eaten
don't
in the
really know
first
the mom. You're not
episode.
really necessarily attached to the mom, but you're like, okay, so that's what's happening. We're not hearing a story about how his mom got eaten by a Titan. We're actually seeing his mom get eaten by a Titan. So
Yeah,
it's that's what's going on here. But sometimes they do
yeah,
that, and then no one else ever dies ever.
that's true. And actually, a note on the boobs. It is funny, but I think it's actually a little annoying how many of the shots in the show are boobs when it comes to chicks. It's like they really want you to make sure you know that they have boobs. And I actually, I mean, I understand the fan service aspect of it, and what Elisa's clothing is pretty ridiculous, but I think that by itself would be okay. But the really, really obvious boob shots, I feel like, are almost out of place
Hmm.
in this show because everything else is so serious. And then, I mean, even the commander, who's pretty cool. I mean, there's all these shots from like
Right.
boob level where her boobs are just and I just feel like it's not this show.
Right.
It's like just have the character sexy, fine, but I just felt like it was an over reliance on shots like that for the female
I think I'm
characters.
starting to get sort of desensitized. Like they had some like crazy boob shots or whatever in Gangsta. Like they were just like it's like,
Oh
oh well,
yeah,
I'm gonna sign, and it's like you see hands moving, and it's just like profile. Like the complete rest of the screen is that girl's boobs.
yeah. For some reason I feel like that's okay.
No, no, no. You need
For
to
some
watch
reason
this.
in
You need
God
to
Eater
watch
it
it,
didn't
and you
bother
won't
me.
think it's it.
Oh,
Like I
okay.
mean, you know, like
Oh,
with this,
okay.
like
Okay, so it's
this
not
is
okay.
okay in
Okay.
comparison to what that was. Like
Oh
yeah.
shit. All right. Okay. All right.
Um.
Well, we'll see. So that brings us to episode three, which is definitely better than episode two, which kind of a little bit of a dud for me. But episode three has a really awesome. So what's her name? The Russian chick. Elisa. So she is being shipped to Japan, UPS style,
Right.
on a plane, and of course, as the plane is in transit, and this is yeah. Now that you mentioned it, very Ava like gets attacked mid route by the angels. I mean
Right.
origami. And so they have to send in Lindau, Sakuya, who's like the other sexy chick on the team. And they're going to go rescue her. And it's kind of funny because, of course, we know this is going to be the special mission where Lenka can redeem himself and not be kicked out
Right.
for being a rebel. Um, and actually, we end up getting a really interesting fight on the plane. The physics are a little, it's very I guess, very stereotypical anime physics, but it doesn't stop it from
And
being super
also
cool.
another, we have an interesting fight inside the plane when Linka and
Yeah,
Elisa went at it because Elisa thought so. What was going on in this episode was that Elisa was coming with a plane full of like sick passengers and people who needed medical attention and stuff like that. So she was like sort of like with there to protect them, and then they were under attack, and then they were like, oh, we'll just extract Alyssa because she's got the new type God arc or whatever, and she's like,
yeah,
fuck you, I'm not leaving these people, and
yeah.
and they even like threw down pretty hardcore on it, like
She beat
yeah,
the
like
fuck
I
out of
thought
him.
that was
Yeah,
like that sort of not just with weapons but the hand-to-hand combat was really well done.
I thought it was very cool. I thought it was nice how
Yeah,
unexpected it was. I expected something to come up, but I definitely didn't expect her to
right,
beat the
to
crap out
immediately
of
be like,
the main dude.
let's throw down.
Yeah, and I thought it was like okay, there's a lot of survivors on the plane. What I thought was interesting is, and this comes up later, where they don't allow people who aren't related, like familial, like family of the god eaters, is were all these people? Did they just let them in? Like, was there not a problem letting them in? Whereas the other refugees we see,
I
there's a
don't think they
problem
did. I mean,
with them.
unless they're related in some way to people, it
Yeah.
seems like
So she just like brought
they
them to the
probably got
city and they
medical
just got kicked
attention
out
and they
right
got
there.
kicked out.
Yeah. Actually, the people we see later are the same people on the plane.
Right. They're like,
They're just like
damn it,
they're
man.
they're not. So I really enjoyed this episode. I thought it was fun. It was really the creatures were fun. I liked their little evolution thing where they would scream and call forth more of them. Just really visually interesting. I like that during the fight, she almost
Right.
loses her
Like it's
hat. Almost.
that also like stood out to me, and it's like like it's one of those things. It brings to light the ridiculousness of them fighting on top of an airplane and her hat staying on, and flying
Yeah.
around. But I also part of me also likes how it did come off and she had to grab it, just like the sort of physics of it in a way. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like,
it was a little fun thing. And I also enjoyed their when they back up against each other and they do a dual
oh
slash
yeah,
on
yes,
their
yeah, and
opponent. That
so
was
generic.
badass. So generic. So I mean, I know I've seen that like
Right. I don't
billions of
really
times,
like you,
but
but let's
it
work
was
together now. You got my back. Yeah, I guess I get your back too.
I guess we have to
Right.
team up this time.
Exactly.
And I think
Oscar.
this is a good example of an episode. Oh yeah, totally. I think this is a good example of an episode which doesn't
Right.
break any new ground, doesn't really do anything special, but was like really well done
Right. It was
generic.
still really
Like it was
entertaining.
just
And one thing that
yeah.
I really like the lighting. Uh and something that I noticed was that like after the battle, like there were like thousands and thousands of these creatures, right? And I
Yeah.
think when they started it was like almost like midday ish, right? When the fight
Yeah.
ended, it was suddenly like had the lighting as though it was in the evening. Which
Yeah.
like I
That was
didn't
nice.
notice like I saw this episode twice. I didn't notice it the first time I watched the episode, but the second time I was like, oh, so it's like they're not literally showing you kill every single one of them, but it is showing you like this is when they finished. This is how long it sort of took because how they used that lighting in the
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, that was cool.
And
That was
also
cool.
when they showed the giant monster.
The big boss
Yes.
origami.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was pretty sweet. That actually was that made me like, ooh,
Yeah,
okay, that looks like a
that's
problem.
a giant monster.
Yeah. And then in the flashbacks we're getting, we finally start seeing things go south in the science gone
Right,
wrong
exactly.
segment of the show. Yeah. Which is interesting how like one of the dudes that caused the fuck up is like in charge of the Fenrir
Well,
Japanese branch.
I wonder if he caused the fuck up because in episode 5, the flashback or whatever, it seemed like there was a lot of different units that were working on it,
Oh,
so it
right.
wasn't
True, true,
necessarily
true.
them, but yeah, he was
That's
working
true.
on the project for sure.
Yeah. So now we're on episode 4, where we learn about the
Hmm.
Aegis project, which is to build this island and put
Right, so
everybody on it,
everyone on
and
Earth
that's
it's completely like impervious to the origami, and everyone will be safe. It'll be a utopia.
and I thought it was really funny how I just kind of expected it to be pretty far along, and then when he asks how far along it is, it's like 0.004
Right.
percent done, and he's just like, "What the
Right.
fuck?"
Also,
This
like,
is
there's
never.
no way that that's holding everyone.
No, there's going to be, and they say that they get these cores from the origami that they use to construct the Aegis project, which after we saw the big origami is,
How you getting
we
that?
know where this is going.
Like,
Yeah,
especially when they're
I
like, we
mean,
need
I have no
10,000
idea
of
how.
these. How you getting 10,000 of them out of that
Yeah,
big one? How you doing that? Guess what? You're not. He doesn't
yeah.
give
I
a
mean, I
fuck
just
about
figured.
you.
Yeah, I just figured that big one. If they can nail that one, then that's like 10,000 cores.
No, they probably, I would assume
Whatever.
they
I
need
don't
like
know how that's.
500 of those, at least from the scale that it sort of seemed like
Yeah.
it was.
Well, I mean, if it's like a legendary item in WoW, then yeah, they're gonna need like 500 of those. And even then you'll kill 500 and they'll drop every like 4 or 5, and you'll be like, oh
Exactly.
fuck, all right, well. 30. So, thanks to his excellent efforts in the previous episode, Renka is no longer in trouble. So,
Oh,
he's
surprise,
officially on the
surprise.
team. And it seems like forgiven also means that he's skipping ahead with his training and is just being sent onto the team. They're like, yeah, you don't need any more training. I would train you more if it was up to me,
Right,
but you're on the team. It's like, okay. And his little buddy from
right.
episode one comes back.
Who really seems like fodder. Like,
Oh,
he's
yeah.
like, if you're playing
Yeah.
like a
If,
MOBA or whatever, he's that like bad player that like wanders off, and you're like, we're just gonna use him as bait. We're gonna use him as bait to get
yeah.
the other
Yeah.
guys.
It's like if Renka needs more training, then this dude needs
Exactly.
years more training, you know? Just, you know. So, you also learned that Uzas is means hell in Russian. I probably butchered that completely, but I enjoy when I learn
Right,
language from
right.
anime. I think
And she's
that's
like,
fun.
he has the same eyes as me. He's saying things.
Yeah, yeah. And I liked how we got to see the damage from the first episode's battle. I liked how they really made a point to show that it did. It was big. It affected the town. You know, it really.
The environment really is great.
Yeah, they did a good job with that. I did think the going to the cannon fodder character's house with his mom was like a little. That was interesting.
I mean, yeah, that was the mom doesn't really want the child to go because she knows he's gonna fucking die. That's
Yeah, but she also knows that the only reason why she's there is because he is doing that. You know, that kind of
right.
awkward situation. Uh, so more discussion of Aegis for a while, and so it seems like only the new types can use
The
the bonus
Devourer.
ability in the god, yeah, the devour thing. So that's kind of interesting. And then unsurprisingly, Elisa is shitty on the
Right.
team.
Because she can do everything herself. She doesn't need any help. She's the best. Come at me, bro.
Yeah, which I thought was a little stretched out a bit far when she didn't kill that one origami because she had already met her quota. I thought that was like, come
Like,
on,
are you really that bitchy?
really?
Are you really that bitch? Like, come on. Like, you're a
Yeah,
bitch, but like
I
we
feel like
believe
that's.
that. But you really like
I feel like I feel like that's too casual too. When you have these monsters that she so clearly hates, and they're so dangerous, would you really just let one go because you've met your quota? You know, that's especially going to attack your buddy. I was like, all
come on,
right,
bro.
that doesn't really make that sense. The big heart string pooler in this episode was the patch test.
Oh, exactly. With the kid so on their way back from collecting the cores from these from the creatures, Linka like offers some water to this little girl, and then like they're all thirsty, and the dad's like, no, you can have it first. She's like, oh, thanks, and it's really sweet. Like, I mean, like I sort of say it in a mockery way, but it was really sweet, and then they get rejected at the gate, because
Yep.
they aren't qualified, and rejected to the point of, if you don't turn around, we're gonna shoot you, sort of thing. I really want to know what the girl said that you couldn't hear when she was walking out,
Oh yeah, I kind of do too. Uh, like fuck
or
you,
whatever.
something like
Like,
that,
yeah, help
or
me,
help.
or like, I don't know, like, but I really want to know what was said, because it was cute. I really like, again, to go back on the animation. Cool. I care about them more. You know, like
Yeah,
even
that's an
like the
interesting point.
little
Yeah.
characters, or like even like these little like farm people or whatever. Like when I look at that like little girl, it's like, aw, like you're a cute little girl. Like she's got like really good facial expressions, and like it really makes me feel endeared to her. And I'm like, oh, like I want you to do well. I want you to be safe, and you're not, because you're going outside and you're gonna die. Yeah.
You're gonna get you're gonna die. Yeah, yeah. You do care about the characters, surprisingly.
Even
I
like
mean,
the
I say
filler
surprisingly
characters,
because
like
even the filler characters are are well done. I also this show also gets props for the main character not pulling any bullshit and getting those people into the city. I did like how they couldn't do anything. That was
That
it.
you know, that's the
So
thing. So he might be so generic, you can buy him at a local convenience store. However, this world doesn't give a fuck. You
yeah.
know, as we find out in episode 5.
So episode 5
Oh,
is where episode 5 is basically, the show's been pretty standard. It's pretty
like
fun. It's it's fine. 5 is just where apparently everybody's like, okay, well, time for
it's
shit to
time to
get
turn on
fucking real.
the switch. Like this is like
Yeah.
makes me so happy that we do 5 episodes because if we did 4, we would have missed this gem. Yeah.
Well, if we had done like a 3 episode test or something, you would never have seen
Right.
this episode. So yeah, 4 and so yeah, so we start off. We see that main dude has sweet digs, I guess, because he's a god eater. So Renka's got a nice
Hmm.
little apartment. Uh, and we've definitely make sure we know that the cores are used to build the Aegis. This is all filler basically until
Well, something I
the
thought
what is
was
it? The
interesting before we get into where it was the Varja. The Varja are the name of those creatures, uh,
Vajra.
and how like it showed the survivors in every area on the map, and how the numbers were just counting
Oh
down,
yeah, that
like
was
just constantly
that
counting
was cool.
down. And I remember the main character was even like, well, I mean, there's some that aren't accounted for, right? Like there's gotta be others, right? Like, and that wasn't really answered, So it's like,
Yeah,
who the fuck knows?
yeah, that was
Yeah,
cool. That was very cool. Really, really gave you a firm idea of how
yeah.
desperate things are.
I mean, at
And
the rate
so
that they're going,
Linda,
there's no way that they're gonna finish that thing on time.
oh fuck no, something else is gonna give for sure. Um, so Linda is out doing some special mission for the commander as a
Mm-hmm.
Soma, I guess. So we're left with Sakuya Kota, cannon fodder dude,
Is it
and
Roka
Lenka
or
and
no Kota? Kota.
Kota and Elisa are sent out on what seems to be a straightforward
Right.
mission to get
Well,
some. Well, actually, the choice is made to either go after a Vajra core or to go after the little guys
and
again.
everyone wanted to go after the Varja because they realized that these are the cores they need in order to make this device in order to make the place safer. So they're like, let's just take it to the next level and try to get this. Try to really go 110%.
Yeah, which turns out to be
Terrible mistake.
a
Yeah.
terrible idea. Yeah,
Or
terrible,
like an
terrible
awesome idea.
fucking
I
idea.
mean, great idea for the
Yeah.
viewers.
Yeah. Well, actually, they do pretty
Yeah, I was
decently.
I was really surprised how well they were doing against the Varja, considering what happened in the first 2 episodes.
Oh yeah, just one Vajra was tough to strike down. In this, they were going up
Right.
against four.
They were
And I
singling them
yeah
out for a while, and then they found
hmm
like a den with people in it.
yeah with people in it. Yeah, and which I seems like they're pretty smart monsters. So I'm sure that was a plot, or I don't know. Maybe they were farming them or something. Anyway, so then a black Vajra appears, fucks up those ones,
Holy
and
shit!
now yeah. So this felt like when Zod shows up, in Berserk, where it's just like everything just goes
Right,
up to 10,
and
and they're just like, "What the fuck do we do
when
with
the
this?"
black guy came up, at least for me, I was like, I don't know if this is a good guy or he's definitely a beast, but I don't know if he's like a good guy or a bad guy.
Yeah, it's like he could be on there, like
And
on
he also has a
their
humanoid
side,
face.
maybe. Yeah, which is interesting. All the others have super monster faces, and he actually
Right,
has
right,
expression,
right.
which is yeah. So he fucks everybody
Everybody
up.
gets fucked up.
Yeah. And apparently Elisa recognizes him from her
Yeah,
past, and so she
that was
flips her
awesome.
shit, like, yeah, downs a bunch of meds and just like fucking berserk rushes,
And gets
this
shit
dude.
on.
Gets totally shit on, just
Yeah.
all over the place. everybody gets raffle stomped by this fucking thing, and most importantly, of all the people who get fucked up real bad, um, our main character Renka, he just gets
Yeah.
fucked up, just like totally fucked up. Actually, he shouldn't be able to fucking walk. That was actually something that I was. He got speared.
Yeah.
He just got
I mean,
speared, and he just walks up. He's like, he gets up, grabs her. He's like, okay, I'm still going.
well,
And I didn't care at the time because I was so like,
and
oh, what
like
the fuck. But
there was so much that I was ready for him to do cool shit when he was like, I gotta
oh yeah,
save the people. Oh, here the music that played. Do you remember that? Like that
oh, it
was
was
so
awesome.
good.
Yeah.
It made me think of like do you remember when like shit went down with Trigun and Trigun and
Oh
it played that
yeah,
like
yeah.
that one song that like he that there's like GF or whatever like that girl that he really liked would always sing or something like that.
Oh damn, yeah,
But
you're
like
bringing
I
me
mean
back
it's
in
that
time with that
same
one. Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of like chills when it's like really intense
Hmm.
and it's just like sort of it's like almost uplifting but also could be really depressing song. Yeah. And
Oh
like
yeah.
that was happening but he was losing his shit too because he wanted to save the people and he was doing that like all of his veins were getting crazy when he like went like super fast or whatever in like the first couple of episodes he sort of like gets super pumped. I don't really know what's going on. It looks like he's
Yeah.
infused with this like crazy energy and no fucks were given about how much he leveled up, about how strong he tried or whatever. Like his weapon, like I kept on thinking in my head, going through generic things that would happen, like for him to recover. It was like, oh, and then this happens, and then he just swings over and he slashes. Oh no, then that got deflected. Oh, his weapon broke. Oh well, then his weapon's gonna level up. No, it's not. No, it's fucking like you know.
Yeah, yeah. I liked how they did that. I liked how each time you thought it was gonna turn around, something like it just stomped
Right.
him again, and like broke his sword again, or just like it just, you kept seeing all these beats where you're like, okay, now it's he's gonna power up and turn around, and it just kept getting raffle
Right.
stomped each and every time.
So,
That was
something that I
cool. That was
noticed I
very
thought was really
effective.
interesting was that the blade was hollow. I guess that like, now that I think about it, it's for the gun, but when the blade got cut, it looked like the blade itself bled.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like there's actually an origami in the
Right. I
blade
like I think that's
or
something
something that's like a
that's
special one of
sort of
the blade.
going on.
Which may be the only way they can turn it around is if it grows or something. And I kept waiting for it to transform, like
Right,
you
like
said, or
level
something.
up or
Like
something.
react,
But like nothing happened.
go Super
Nothing
Saiyan.
happened for anybody.
No. So then he grabs the other fighter starts shooting the Black Vajra, and so it moves towards them, and he picks up Elisa. Yeah, that's her name. And he's trying to rescue her, and the Black Vajra comes back, and they're running, and there's a very well placed cliff, and they all fall off of it,
While he's
and they
running,
go straight into the water.
mind you, because he's pretty much given up
Yeah,
at that time.
yeah, and again, he shouldn't be able to walk, but whatever. His guts should be hanging out, but they fall into the water, and that's it. We don't get a regular ending scene like credit. It just goes into this really creepy, outro
Yeah.
line. And then after that, I was actually surprised. I totally lost track of time with the episode because I got sucked into it. I was surprised we got another flashback showing, I guess, the beginning of the Origami's invasion of the human world, um, where they mentioned too that regular weapons have no
Right.
effect on them. So now it's real obvious they how everything went to shit so fast.
Yeah, yeah, how the world sort of crumbled as quickly as it did and showed them like what looked like a little sort of like rodent-esque just like busting through, its metal cage not giving a fuck and but like lots of different sort of evolved forms that were like but like mutated evolved forms.
Yeah, yeah, it looked like it was trying out different
Yeah.
environments and stuff like that. So I have no idea what's going to happen
Not a
after this.
freaking clue.
Yeah, I mean that was fucking crazy. That fifth episode, I remember sitting back being like, wow,
It really went
okay.
from like deep like there's not nothing I guess the main bad thing about it is that it seems really like the characters don't seem really interesting and the storyline seems really sort of generic. But like on number five, it
Yes,
just like went from being like, it's pretty good. Like it's definitely watchable. Like I'd keep up with it, but I wouldn't be excited about it. And level five, I'm like, or at the fifth episode, I'm just like, things escalated so much, and I'm so like
yeah,
involved now. I don't know what's going on with this Black Lodge. I don't know what his relationship with this Russian lady is. I want to know why he looks like a freaking dude or whatever. Like I want to know
yeah,
what's going on with that dude's weapon that he got like destroyed. It's just all crazy. It's all crazy.
yeah. Five, shit hits
Yeah.
the fan in five. I kind of wish, I wish somehow that they had brought this level of intensity a little earlier. Because 5 episodes out of a 9 episode series is, uh,
Right.
not super great. I wish they had spent less time on like the super awesome, video game editing and more time on
So,
what made
yeah.
this shit intense. Um,
There's
but
that scene you were talking about
yeah,
when the black are I can't have these fucking names. Yeah, when the
Vajra.
black bars are just like they're all those people. And just like
Oh yeah, just like swipes them and
yeah,
they
it's
just
just like
explode. Yeah,
insane.
yeah. And I was surprised by the violence after a few episodes where they, it was a little violent, but they kind of avoided, really gruesome stuff. And then this episode was fucking
Yeah.
violent.
I
They
remember
were
being
fucking
so
around.
confused because after the guy powered up and he went and attacked the Black Varsa, um he just got like gutted midair.
Oh yeah, that was really
You
funny
see him
actually.
fly,
It just
and
got
like I was so like expecting something to happen. It was just like no,
yeah, was he was denied.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that was fucking crazy. There's so few episodes too that I think I might actually just finish the
I guess
show.
there's just one more episode now, then,
Um,
huh? Because there's up to eight. Like I'm at the Daisuke X
yeah.
right now. It's at eight.
Oh, okay. Yeah. It might even be ending today. Today's Sunday, right? Yeah, I think that it airs on Sundays. So yeah, I think it'll be done, uh, or by September 27th.
Right,
For those of you who don't
right.
know when we're recording this.
4 a.m.
Uh, yes, yeah, at 4 a.m. Oh God, yeah, it is 4 a.m. Yeah, so I think I'll just finish the show because now I'm interested. Now I want to see what happens and see if there's any sort of wrap up to this. Are they just gonna like leave us hanging? Like, but that fifth episode, wow, that was. I mean, again, like you said, nothing groundbreaking, but it did what it was doing very well,
Well, I
very
mean
very
that's what I
well.
was saying up before. Like the fifth episode, I think the fifth episode was pretty groundbreaking, at least to me. Like
Yeah, I mean, it was just I thought it was really shocking in comparison of the four
and
episodes
for
which
me,
came
that sort of
before
equates to
in terms
groundbreaking
of
because I don't really get shocked from anime anymore.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I was surprised they waited that long
Yeah,
to do that, really. But yeah, I thought it was quite well done. And so yeah, I would say overall for me, this probably gets like 6.8.
we're going from the point fives to the point eights now. I see.
Yeah, because I almost want to say 7, but I would have given it a 7 if I had felt this level of intensity earlier in the
Yeah,
show. Whereas I felt like episode 2 is kind of I like just a waste, basically. Episode 1 spent too much time making sure everything was awesome, and showing you how cool everything was. So loses a bit there. But yeah, I think
yeah. I mean,
6.8.
my thing is again, it's perfect. Like I'm planning on finish. Like, I have a hard time again with the rankings or like using a number, but I know it's right up my alley for animation, for audience, for crazy shit that's going on in a hardcore world or whatever. Like I really enjoy it. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
watch them more, and anyone who's into this sort of stuff that who's into this like adult action sort of horror esque stuff should definitely check it out.
Yeah, if you like Titan, if you liked Ava, if you're looking for like a little sci-fi series to watch, or I guess if you really like the video games, I feel like this is a probably one of the better anime adaptations of
That
a
kind of
video
blows my
game I've
mind
seen.
too that this was based off an anime or that this was based off of a video game because I would think it would be much worse. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
think about all the Hollywood movies based off of video games. I mean, or whatever.
Oh,
And
yeah, yeah.
like the characters in video games aren't meant to have like much of a personality. I think I would go as far as saying
Yeah,
that
there.
these guys. I mean, I guess you could say argue role playing games, etc. But like a general action video game, I would say that these characters have more more personality than I expect, knowing that it was based off of that action.
Yeah, I mean, the games are usually meant for you to project yourself onto them, so there's not a lot there. So I was actually surprised that there was that much that I cared that much, and I think part of it is, like you said before, is the design. I think the designs were all unique enough so that you really got to know those characters really well just by looking
Mm-hmm.
at them, as opposed to learning a lot about them. So I think excellent character design then, I guess, because you got
Yeah,
attached to these
and the
characters without
animation has really
really
great
knowing a
facial
lot about them.
expressions, and so
Oh yeah, yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. Great animation. Uh,
yeah, awesome.
CG monsters were a little funny, but the Black Vajra was very
Yeah,
scary. So I thought that was quite well done.
that is
And
huge.
it was
Origami.
oh, and yeah, and the huge origami from episode 3 was really that was fucking sweet, and I liked how you
Right,
didn't
it
see all of
really
it
does
either.
seem like weird sort of guy. This is like a crazy throwback, but it just makes me think of like the last boss fight in Final Fantasy VI, which I don't think you've
Mm.
played. But it does
No, no.
have like this crazy scene in the clouds, and I think if I remember correctly, there's like a giant creature coming down from the clouds in which you fight, and it's just like that same sort of like, oh my god, what are we gonna do? And that's just sort of like there was no let's try fighting this. Like you really just beat
Oh
up the
no.
ants of this.
Yeah, yeah. They saw that and were like, ah,
Right.
we'll fly the
And
thing.
they sacrificed their helicopter. Like if they didn't have that helicopter to use as a decoy, they'd all be dead.
Oh yeah, yeah. They were like, see a helicopter. We're
Yeah,
not
that
sad
guy
that we're
probably
losing you.
shits on this black guy or this black Ariami or whatever. And
Oh yeah, yeah.
or
The
Vajra,
Black
yes, yes,
Vajra.
yes.
Yeah.
And God, it's great. Actually, now that I know that there's more episodes out, I might not sleep tonight. We'll see.
It's just
Yeah.
gonna keep going. So yeah, I think it was a pretty good show. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to seeing what
Yeah.
happens in the rest of it.
Thank you everyone for tuning in. And the next will be completing prison school, and it'll come out sometime. All right.
Sounds good.
All
Yeah,
right.
and we'll
Take care.
catch you all next time.
Bye.